Hello gorgeous, I'm the Fairy Voice Mother and today I'm going to be reacting to Slaughter to Prevail by Alex Terrible of Demolisher. I've never heard of the artist, the band or the song, but by the sounds of it it's probably going to be some kind of jazz lounge, bit of synth pop, delicate. There's only one way to find out, isn't there? So let's get cracking. You might have noticed I didn't have my spinny chair in the last video and it's back now because I broke it. But then I fixed it, so. He's not stopping, is he? He's not going to stop. Okay. No more blue Smarties for you, Alex. Whew, okay. This is absolutely great. So obviously we knew it was going to be harsh. Slaughter, demolition, terrible, but this was definitely on the harsher spectrum. So the technique that he's using here to create this fabulously demonic, low, intense sound is called a false fold, growl / scream, you can call it whatever you want, but he's not using his true vocal cords to make this sound. It's a very similar technique that Tatiana uses when she sang that really famous song Pisces, and I explained this technique a bit in that video with a flute. If you're interested, I'll put it here. I think you can do that. So there are some screaming techniques that are quite close to clean singing, like singing with rasp and adding a little bit of distortion, grit, whatever you want to call it. But this is very different. This is a completely separate technique. So we have two main vocal cords, right? A left one and a right one, and they close in order to make a clean sound. I did it my way. But this is very different. To achieve this really intense kind of sound, you keep your vocal cords open and you allow being the key word here, your false vocal cord tissue, your vestibular tissue, your uvula, all different kinds of tissue to flap, and they flap and flap and flap and produce this guttural kind of sound. So if I want to flap something, whatever it is, say this thing, what is this? I'm gonna need some kind of force. It won't flap itself. So the best kind of force to flap the false folds, that's a lot of F's, is air. So imagine I'm lungs, and your lungs, your diaphragm, and then this is all the tissue. The two main reasons I think that people think they can't do this technique is because, one, they didn't provide enough air, okay? So even if I've got a lovely open pharynx, lots of space, they didn't flap. The performance equivalent being. And the second most common reason I think this doesn't come out for everyone perfectly every time is because it's quite obvious that you need some kind of forcefulness from somewhere to achieve this technique, right? It's not. So you know you're going to be applying a different technique to do this. And metal and extreme vocals is obviously a genre that is filled with rage and power and emotion and intensity, right? So what people have a tendency to do is force from the wrong place. So rather than thinking about the breath as the source of the force, they just squeeze from their throat, which doesn't really sound that good. When you constrict the neck muscles, you have less space. And if you have less space for the flaps to flap, then they don't make as big a sound. So basically, the first thing you've got to do before you even attempt this technique is figure out how to send your breath low. Now, I could talk to you about breathing for like an hour, but just really quickly, just to give you a head start, put your hand on your solar plexus, which is here, and then send your belly out and down. So that is basically the best way to do this. Really, really, really effective use of breath and remaining open in your throat. And then you can just try a bunch of sounds and see what happens. Just remember, if it sounds good and it feels good, it's good. So if you are experiencing any scratchiness or discomfort or pain of any kind, stop. I'm serious, just stop. Don't sing through it. It won't get better. It will only get worse. I know there are people that can teach this technique to themselves, and that is fun. Big whoop. Gold star for them. However, if you do need a little bit of live one-to-one help from a coach, that absolutely takes nothing away from your talent, your skill, or your potential. It just means that you might have a couple of little bad habits, some certain things that you're tightening that you need a fresh pair of eyes to be like, you need to stop tightening that, and then you'll be fine. You know, that kind of thing. So try it. If it feels good, just keep going. If it doesn't, get a coach and then keep going. Let's look up the lyrics, because I don't want to be singing a bunch of gibberish. There is a very, very specific way that he sang these lyrics. So paradox, stepping up the brink of... So he's narrowed and dropped every syllable to keep all this sound production happening as low as possible. Paradox. And I'm not a metal specialist or whatever, but I know that that's what's happening. Let's carry on, shall we? I love how he's just wearing his like Adidas bottoms, like when you get home from the gym at 7:30 but your show's at 8. He has nothing to prove. This is so good. That was a low one.
See skies of blue.
So in that little section there, he slightly raised the formant. Alright, so because the vocal cords aren't closing, we don't have much of a dominant frequency. So the easiest way to change the formant when we sing clean or extreme vocals is to change the position of the larynx. Same note, but different formants induced by different larynx positions. Oh, good drummer.
Все, что он так любит. Нет никаких разбитых судеб. С рождения в глазах горит огонь. Приходит смерть, она тебя разбудит. Demolition! Let's see the pain.
isolated raw vocal, just like it makes it a little bit more obvious how much the vocal is probably doubled and affected towards the end here. There's so many more frequencies, there's so much more sound. What I love most, I think, about this was that although it was just false-fouled the entire time, like the same kind of screaming technique without actual true chord closure, it had so much variety because of how it was arranged. You know, he had the isolated whispery kind of style vocals, then a big chorus, and then there was fast lyrics, and then there was just... Not to mention, his performance was fabulous. Oh, I'm all hot and bothered. I don't know if that's because he's a very attractive man or if it's because Satan has come to claim me. I don't know. But nonetheless, I'm having a good time. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I've enjoyed making it. If there are any singers you would like to see me react to, please let me know in the comments. It would be my pleasure. Have a beautiful day. I love you very much and I can't wait to see you next time. Bye!